Falling for Havoc is a Wattpad novella written by M.E. Randall. Chapter 8, Shattered Chaos.
The little boy gazes at me with an unsettling intensity, his silence lingering after I ask him who he is. His unusual, deep and knowing eyes seem to peer into the depths of my soul, all while his expression remains eerily blank. Despite his youthful appearance, he possesses an aura of timelessness, as if he carries the weight of ages past within his small frame, a sense of familiarity that intrigues and unnerves me. As I watch him, an unsettling wave of unease envelops me. There's an eerie familiarity about him, as if we are old souls reconnecting after centuries apart despite having never shared a moment together. His presence carries a paradoxical weight, warm and disquieting, like a long-buried memory clawing its way to the surface, begging for recognition. The air around him seems to shimmer with a deep, unspoken history, drawing me in while simultaneously urging me to retreat. He breaks my gaze and returns to the mirror's surface. I open my mouth to ask him again, but my words falter as I watch the scene in the mirror morph before my eyes. The vibrant image abruptly dims, plunging into a deep blackness that feels almost alive. Gradually, a ghostly gray glow emerges, illuminating the void like the first light of dawn breaking through a heavy fog. Accompanying this eerie luminescence is a cacophony of voices, thousands of whispers and shouts that seem to echo from a distant realm. Yet as I peer closer, I realize that on the other side of the mirror, the noise is not as oppressive and suffocating as it was when I was under it with Havoc. It's oddly muted, like the sounds of a busy street heard from afar, leaving me with a strange sense of cautious intrigue. In the glow of the light, I spot a figure huddled tightly into a ball on the floor. His shoulders draw up and he seems to seek comfort in his embrace, as if trying to shield himself from the world around him. The flickering light casts soft shadows that dance across their form, highlighting the vulnerability of their position and the stillness that envelops them in this moment. "Havoc," I gasp, pressing my palms against the cool surface of the glass, my breath hitching in my throat. I watch in horror as he gradually raises his head, his expression a haunting mix of pain and despair etched across his features. The voices in the background swell in intensity, their discordant whispers reverberating through the mirror and seeping into my mind, like a chilling fog, engulfing my thoughts and numbing my senses.
"I can't do this anymore,"
he shouts, his voice cracking with desperation, each word striking me like a blow. The anguish in his eyes pierces through me, making my heart ache.
"Please just let me quit."
His plea hangs heavy in the air, a painful reminder of the struggle we've both endured. He gazes directly at me, his eyes intense as though peering into my soul. Meanwhile, the mirror begins to shift erratically, its surface rippling like water, and I catch sight of the little boy standing where the mirror just was.
"You can't stop now."
His voice carrying an otherworldly calm.
"It's your purpose, Havoc."
The weight of his words hangs in the air.
"I can't keep doing this alone. It's easy for you in Serenity, but I can't keep carrying this weight."
Havoc sobs.
"Let me leave."
"You can't.
The boy tells him, sliding his hands into his jacket pockets.
Even if you tried, you can't quit. You can't stop being you."
I watch as the boy in the mirror speaks with certainty, his eyes filled with wisdom beyond his years.
"Then I'll get rid of them all. I can't take any more, Cosmo. If I can't quit, then I'll take humanity out."
Havoc pushes himself up to his hands on his knees, heaving as the voice pounds down on him.
"It's not their time."
The little boy's voice stays calm amongst the chaos.
"Then I will make it their time."
Havoc's head snaps up, his face engulfed in rage. His eyes glow red and he looks more animal than man. "Havoc," I shout, trying to get his attention. Tell him he's not alone and doesn't have to bear this burden alone. I bang against the glass, and to my surprise, it gives way like thick jello. I push through as hard as possible and stumble on the other side. The voices vanish along with Havoc and Cosmo. I stand alone in the dark. I look behind me and the mirror is gone. The darkness surrounds me, closing in like a wet, cold blanket. Panic rises within me. I take a deep breath, trying to calm my racing heart. I take a tentative step forward, the darkness pressing on all sides. The silence magnifies every sound, making me feel even more isolated. The realization that I'm lost in the chaos of Havoc's house starts to sink in. He warned me that I shouldn't open a door and walk through. I curse myself for not listening to Havoc's warning. I can only walk forward and hope I eventually find a way out. I slow down when I see what looks like a park. I don't know where the light is coming from, but it looks like sunlight filtering through a cloudy day. A large leafy oak tree towers above a bench, steadily raining down yellowish-orange leaves. The bench gives me pause when I realize two people are sitting on it. As I get closer, I realize one is Havoc, and the other is the little boy Cosmo. I feel a mix of relief and confusion as I approach them. They don't notice me as I get closer. I stop when I hear Havoc say,
Are you here to scold me?
I think he's talking to me, and I start to say yes. He's not going to keep running away from me. But I stop when Cosmo answers.
I never scold you.
The little boy sits next to him looking over a lake. The lake's edges start to freeze, and I notice snow beginning to fall. But it's not cold. As Cosmo sits, he swings his feet through the air and sips on what looks like coffee milk.
You're starting to fall for her.
Cosmo says, his voice barely audible over the whispers of the snowflakes drifting down around us. The world is blanketed in white, each flake glistening like tiny diamonds under the muted winter sunlight. I glance at him, trying to hide my surprise, as beauty of the snowy scene deepens the warmth of my feelings. I lean in with anticipation, waiting on bated breath to hear his response. Havoc's head snaps to him.
What are you talking about, Cosmo? I barely know her.
Havoc replies defensively. While it's painful to acknowledge, Havoc is correct. We barely know each other. Cosmo shakes his head as the snow melts, and green grass pops up as if we're on a fast track through the seasons.
You're drawn to her, intrigued by her. I can see it. You feel as if you've known her for your entire existence.
Havoc shifts restlessly in his seat, adjusting his posture as discomfort mounts.
Have I broken some cosmic law? Is the universe crashing down because I've fallen in love with a mortal?
Cosmo's legs stop before he earnestly declares,
Love is a powerful force that transcends all boundaries, whether they are physical, cultural, or emotional. It has the remarkable ability to connect souls across dimensions. It inspires understanding and compassion, reminding us that there are no limits or barriers. Who am I to stand in the way?
So is that your plan? It didn't work, you know?
Havoc says, shifting his attention to the boy and turning his back on me.
Suggesting I ask a human how to end the world, it didn't work. Even if I've fallen in love with her, I'm still going to take the world out.
The little boy gazes up at Havoc with wide, knowing eyes.
I see you still haven't found hope.
Hope?
Havoc chuckles hollowly.
Hope in humanity? Or are you referring to hope in myself? I think we can agree that both are lost causes.
Havoc sighs heavily, burying his head in his hands, his fingers tangling deeply in the coarse strands of his thick black hair. The weight of his thoughts presses down on him like a suffocating cloud. Cosmo gently holds the straw of his milkshake, its thick, creamy texture spiraling upward as he takes a long sip. His bright eyes glance my way, filled with an intensity that makes me pause.
I suppose hope needs to find itself before you can see it.
He muses, his voice calm yet reflective as if contemplating the complexities of life itself. Havoc sighs.
What on earth are you talking about?
He trails off when he realizes that Cosmo is looking over his shoulder at me. Havoc's eyes widen before he jumps up from his seat. In an instant, Cosmo vanishes, leaving Havoc and me alone by the edge of the lake. Havoc glances around in complete shock. You need to stop running away from me. It's really hard to chase after you, I say, frustrated after the long walk here and the emotional torment I witnessed him endure earlier.
That's kind of the point.
He mutters, turning back to look for Cosmo. But when he spots an empty bench, he shakes his head.
I need space.
You start to feel something, I say, my voice steady but firm. You get scared, then you take off in the opposite direction.
Scared?
He asks, a hollow chuckle escaping his lips.
Of you?
Of feeling something for me. I nod. Or perhaps it's the simple act of experiencing something positive, regardless of what that might be, and the comforting thought that someone out there could genuinely care for you. He casts me a knowing glance, charged with unspoken understanding, indicating I've pinpointed the problem with startling accuracy.
How long were you standing there? Did he bring you here?
He asks, his tone a mix of curiosity and concern. Who are you talking about? The little boy. I respond, my brow furrowed in confusion. Havoc lets out a deep sigh, his gaze drifting towards the lake before turning to me.
Don't let your eyes deceive you. Cosmo is every bit as much a boy as you are, regardless of appearances. So did he bring you here?
I shrug, feeling confused and curious about how I ended up here. For all I know, it could have been the kid. Or it could have been sheer dumb luck. With a sense of resignation, I approach the weathered bench and settle onto it, its surface cool against my skin. If it was him, then he's a jerk. I walked around in the dark forever before stumbling upon you. He sits down next to me, fluffing his suit coat as he does. Havoc seems unsettled.
How did you get through the door then?
I carefully turned the handle, pushed the door open, and stepped through. I explained to him. It's a simple action, one that shouldn't be difficult at all. Yet judging by the shock and confusion etched on Havoc's face, you'd think I had just performed a remarkable feat.
So you actually opened a door and walked through it? What did you find on the other side?
He asks, eyes wide with curiosity. The room resembles this one, yet it radiated a warm golden light reminiscent of a sunrise casting its glow over a still ocean and a mirror, I tell him. Havoc grows more confused.
There's no space like that, Nadine.
I understand his skepticism, but of all people, I thought he believed me. He's a demon, for God's sake. I know it sounds unbelievable, but I swear I'm not lying. I insist, trembling with urgency. Havoc shakes his head, his expression a complex blend of disbelief and concern.
Nadine, mortals cannot create this kind of space.
He explains, his tone serious.
This realm
He gestures around us.
is mine. Serenity has her own unique dimension, filled with tranquil beauty, while Cosmo dwells in his own. There is no other space like this, and neither of theirs resembles what you claim you saw.
His eyes narrow, studying me as if searching for a hint of deception. But all I can offer is vulnerability. So what are you saying? I asked defensively, the weight of his words pressing heavily on my chest.
I'm saying either
He replies slowly, choosing his words carefully.
that either something truly bizarre is happening, something that is even strange to me, or you might not be human at all.
Thank you for listening to Chapter 8 of Falling for Havoc. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell for more notifications. You can find Falling for Havoc at wattpad.com or on the Wattpad app. Search for my username, reading_mermaid08, to find this book and many others I have written.